Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to the CEC Gurukul lecture series. I am Professor Vipin Agarwal. I will be talking about market participants. If you recollect, in my previous lectures, which were being uploaded on YouTube, we talked about primary market. In the primary market, we talked about IPO and many other issues we discussed. Fixed price issue, IPO pricing, how the IPO pricing is being done. And we also talked about secondary market. In the secondary market, basically we focused on stock exchanges, BSE, NSE and various other issues. In continuation of that, I will be talking of the different market participants which participates in the market. If we start with, I will say the issuers who issues securities, the companies which issue equity shares, they issue the companies which issue debt instruments. They are called the issuer companies which needs money. There are investors who invest money in the equity shares, in bonds, in other financial institutions, in the other financial instruments which are being issued by the corporates, which are being issued by the companies, and these subscribers, which we call them investors, subscribe these equity shares, subscribe these bonds, and they participate in the market as a investor. In order to facilitate the investors, in order to facilitate the issuer companies, there are certain intermediaries. These intermediaries are in form of stock exchanges, there are stock brokers, there are clearing corporations, there is a regulator called Securities and Exchange Board of India. So these various institutions, these various agencies, these various companies helps in the capital market. So briefly, we will be talking of different market participants who participates in the market, which constitutes the capital market, which constitutes the financial market in the country. So some of these financial markets, some of these financial participants, I would say I will be talking of. As you can see this, there are investors class, there are stock exchanges, there are depositories, depository participants, clearing house, brokers, issuer companies. Means I just referred about these, I named them, these are the market participants. Now let's discuss one by one about each of them. To start with stock exchanges, which in detail I referred in my previous lecture also when I talked about BSE and NSE. I am quickly brushing up your memories on the stock exchanges. Stock exchange is a marketplace which facilitates the investors to invest in the companies, which facilitates investors to trade shares and bonds in the stock exchanges. So means it's a marketplace which provides a platform for the buyers and the sellers to meet and make trade there. So a stock exchange is an institution which provides a common platform for buying and selling of existing securities like shares and debentures. Because unless you have a market, why do you as an investor invest in bonds, invest in shares? One of the primary objective of the investment is not only the capital appreciation and you get regular interest on the debentures, but also you want that it should have a liquidity. That is, apart from the capital appreciation and regular income in the form of interest and dividend, what you as an investor also wants is that whenever you want to sell these shares or these debentures, you can sell them so that you can have a liquid fund, you can transform it into liquid form in form of cash. These stock exchanges helps in meeting the buyers and sellers and make a trade there. So stock exchange plays a very vital role in order to provide liquidity to the investors. So prices of the securities are determined by market forces. How much price a share should fetch? How it will be determined? It will be determined on the basis of demand and supply. That is, at what price sellers are ready to sell and at what price the buyers are ready to buy that share. Where the price will match, only at that price the shares transaction will take place. So it's a platform which determines the price of a security. It promotes capital formation. I have referred this earlier also. No country can progress without capital formation. What is capital formation? Capital formation is a process in which the individuals or the organizations save. When the saving is being done, it is being invested, and when the investment is being done, it leads to the capital formation, which this investment helps in the productive activities of the country, of a nation. So, with the help of the stock exchanges, those who have surplus funds, they invest in the equities, they give money to the issuers, to the companies in form of equities and bonds, and these companies in turn invest the money in productive activities. So thereby it helps in the capital formation. And as I just said, without stock exchanges, without these platforms, these markets, it will be difficult for the investors to invest in the equity market and the bond market. So there are two leading exchanges we have discussed already as far as the equity shares and debentures are concerned, BSE and the NSE, that is National Stock Exchange, and the BSE. Formerly it was being known as Bombay Stock Exchange, now it is being known as BSE only. And there are two other exchanges in this country, leading exchanges in this country, which deals primarily with the commodities, which is MCX, Multi Commodity Exchanges, and the MSEI, Metropolitan Stock Exchange of India. So these are the two leading exchanges which deals in the commodities. They don't deal with the shares, they deal with the commodities like agri commodity, gold, silver, all these, oil. These commodities are being dealt in this. I am not discussing, I am just referring here. So what is the role of the stock exchanges? Quickly, we have already discussed it. Quickly, let me brush up. It provides liquidity and marketability of the existing securities, I have already referred, ensures safety of transactions, promotes equity cult. It helps the investors to promote, to invest in the equity market, helps in determining the prices where the buyers and sellers mutually meet and determines the price that is the price that is being fetched by a particular share. So it determines the price of the securities, contributes to economic growth, and provides scope for speculation. Speculation in the positive sense, not speculation in the way we understand the word speculation, because in the stock exchanges not only the transactions takes place in the cash market, but the transaction takes place in the derivative market also. And in the derivative market is a good market for the price discovery, because the transactions takes place at a larger scale in the derivative market, and in the derivative market the price discovery, it is a mechanism of the price discovery, what the price in security should fetch. In a wider sense, it is being determined by the derivative market. So we will have a full discussion, we will have a full chapter on this derivative market. So at that point of time, I will be talking a lot about the derivative market. At this moment, I will say that stock exchanges helps in providing the price discovery, and indirectly it is a scope for speculation. So this is stock exchange is one market participant. The other very important market participant is called clearing house. Friends, these days with the advent of online trading and the quantum of transaction that takes place in the equity market and the debt market, it's in thousands of crores of rupees. On a daily basis, transactions worth thousands of crores of rupees is being transacted in the two leading exchanges of this country, that is the BSE and the NSE. There is a need of a agency which gives the guarantee of counterparty risk. What is this counterparty risk? Means default risk. So both NSE and BSE have its clearing house, which is a separate entity, although being started by the NSE and BSE. So these clearing houses ensures that whatever the transaction that takes place in the stock exchange, they are fully being guaranteed. That is, it is a guarantee of the clearing house that whatever the payment has to be made, it must be made. What the payment has to be received from the buyers, it is to be received from the buyers. So means counterparty risk is being minimized, or I'll say is a negligible counterparty. What is counterparty risk? Again, I'm saying it is a default risk. That is, neither the buyer nor the seller defaults. For that matter, because the buyers and sellers do not deal directly with the stock exchange, they deal with the brokers. So no broker defaults in fulfilling its obligation. That is the function, that is the work being performed by the clearing house. So when the order is confirmed and the trading part is done, order means confirm means a buyer gives a buying order and the seller gives a selling order. When the order is, and who does it? It is being done in the stock exchange. The stock exchange performs this duty. So when the order is confirmed and the trading part is done, the order goes to the clearing house. And friends, let me tell you, it doesn't go after some time. It goes on a real-time basis. As and when the click of the mouse you make transaction in the stock exchange. When I say you are dealing through your broker, right? I'll be talking all these things. So as and when the broker deals a transaction in the stock exchange, immediately this transaction on a real-time basis, it goes to the clearing corporation. It goes to the clearing house, right? So the order goes to the clearing house to comprise the process of buying and selling of the securities. The clearing corporation act as a facilitator. So the job of the clearing house is as a facilitator. It will facilitate. The job of the clearing house is to facilitate that transactions which has been taken place, that is the buying and the selling transaction that has taken place, both the parties must fulfill their obligation. So how the clearing corporation works? A transaction can only happen when a buy order matches with a sell order and a trade is generated. As I have referred, that these days online trading takes place. Every broker has its computer terminals, and on these computer terminals the transaction takes place. So whenever the buying order and the selling order matches, means if I want to buy a share at rupees 100, seller wants to sell the shares at the same share at rupees 100, right? The transaction will match. If the seller want to sell the share at 102 rupees and the buyer want to buy the share at 100 rupees, the transaction will not match. It will match only when the price of the buyer and the seller is same, right? So the transaction will be traded at the same price, the trade is generated. After the trade generation, the clearing corporation performs all of the necessary steps leading to settlement, which includes, means what is the job of the clearing corporation? Now the job of the clearing corporation will start. It will ensure that the buyer makes the payment and the sellers purchases the shares. That is, seller pays the price for which the transaction has taken place. So we call it pay in, pay out. So pay in, pay out, ensuring pay in, pay out is being cleared on a particular date is the job of the clearing corporation. So updating of accounts of parties involved, and again I'm telling you, the parties involved are the brokers, because stock exchanges do these transactions, and for a stock exchange, every stock exchange has its own authorized members. In normal parlance we call it stock brokers, right? So the individuals do not deal directly with the stock exchange, they deal through the brokers. So these brokers' account are being updated by the clearing corporation, and they make arrangement of transfer of shares and the money, means they settle the transaction. After that, there is a settlement period where there is actual exchange of shares for money happens. Friends, in India at present we are following T+2 settlement system. What is T+2 settlement system? Especially in the cash market I am referring to. T+2 settlement system means the day when the transaction takes place, within 2 days, right, the transaction should be executed. Means the buyer must make the payment and the sellers must make the deliver the shares. So a clearing corporation participate in all the stages to ensure confirmation, means confirmation of order, settlement, these orders are being settled, and delivery of the transaction. So this is the functions of the clearing corporation. As you can see here, it records trade, it confirms trade, right? All these I have just referred, these are being the functions of the clearing corporation. So key role in trading and settlement. During settlement, a clearing corporation perform concrete risk management to cover its member from procedural losses. Friend, this is very important. The main role of the clearing corporation is risk management. If I buys the share worth 100 crore rupees, when I say means any individual HNIs 100 crore rupees, what he wants is, because as you know that share price fluctuates every moment. If supposing the share prices goes up, right, seller may be hesitant to sell the share at the price at which the deal was being made. Suppose a share is being dealt at rupees 100 and within a day the prices goes up to 110. So seller may be having hesitancy in delivering the share at rupees 100 because 10 rupees it is a loss to him for 10 rupees. It is the job of the clearing corporation which will ensure that the person who has sold the share through the brokers, it must make the delivery of that share, and they have their own mechanism. If the seller fails to deliver the shares, what remedy it has, it is being there are certain set procedures which clearing corporation ensures that the delivery is being made and the buyer is at no loss. Same is the case with the buyer, that if buyer makes a purchase, makes a deal at rupees 100 a share, and suppose the price of the share falls on the same day or the next day, and he the buyer is hesitant to buy the share at 100 rupees because it is a loss to him at the rate of 10 rupees per share. It is the job of the clearing corporation to ensure that the buyer must pay the price at which the transaction has taken place. It means at the rate of rupees 100. So right, so this way the losses is being mitigated or being avoided by both the buyers and the sellers. It also covers liquidity risk. As I have just referred, it is a liquidity risk. It acts as a proactive umbrella for all the market transaction with an efficient risk management system. So clearing corporation has a system which the clearing houses have the system where the risk of both the parties is being avoided, so have efficient risk management. It ensures proper transfer and ownership of shares and transfer of money from buyer to the beneficiaries. Right? A clearing corporation helps in improving market efficiency. Why do people trade in market? Unless the market is efficient, nobody would like to trade in the market. Nobody will like to invest, and because unless there is a transparency in the system, right, people will not like to trade in the market. So the market transparency and market efficiency is being improved with the help of these clearing corporation. So it ensures transparency, it ensures liquidity and risk. So now example means there are clearing corporations. So National Securities Clearing Corporation, friends, it is not National Stock Exchange Clearing Limited, it is National Securities Clearing Corporation Limited. The correct name is National Securities Clearing Corporation Limited. So it was the first clearing corporation of India, established in August 1995 as a wholly owned subsidiary of NSE. As I said in the beginning, when we start talking about the NSE and the clearing corporation, both NSE and BSE has its own clearing corporation, right? So this NSCCL National Securities Clearing Corporation Limited was established in 1995 as a wholly owned subsidiary of NSE. It introduced settlement guarantee, means the function of the clearing corporation is being performed by NSCCL. So this is about, friends, about your clearing corporation, right? Now, the other important participant of the market, we are discussing the subject of the market participant. This is also very important. The other important market participant is depository. Friends, before talking of the present depositories, I'll go into the history. Earlier, before the introduction of this depository system in this country, how the shares used to be issued, how the shares used to be transferred, you should understand very clearly about this. Then only you will understand, you will appreciate the depository. Friends, some 25 years back, before the advent of depository, companies which used to issue shares and debentures, they used to issue in form of a share certificate. Means there was a paper. On this paper, the stamp of the company was being made, was being put. The shareholder's name was there. The folio number, means each shareholder was being allotted a folio number, right? And the share certificate number. Each certificate has its own number. We call it share certificate number. And the share number from this to this. These type of, means in a paper form, shares used to be issued. And whosoever subscriber is, to that person, the company used to issue the shares. Means the shares and the bonds, debentures, were in the physical form. Once you have this paper, you are the owner. Your name is being mentioned, you are the owner of that share. Now, as you know that these shares, these bonds, I'll refer by and large shares, are being dealt in the stock market. Somebody is selling the shares. What the seller will do, along with the share, a transfer deed will be attached. Transfer deed used to be issued by the stock exchanges. Transfer deed is a paper which helps in transfer of the shares in the physical form, right? So the owner of the share, under whose name the share is being mentioned in the records of the company, he will sign the way you sign in a bank, right? He will sign that I am transferring these shares, right? And filling all the details about the company at what price the exchange takes place, and the date at which the exchange takes place, and so on and so forth. Means he used to attach transfer deed. And this transfer deed along with the share certificate was being given to the buyer of the shares. It was being done through stock brokers, right? In this process, what happens that up till that time, the buyers transfer this share in his own name or in her own name. The shares used to be remain in the name of the seller. Because how do the company know that the shares have been transferred? So buyers used to send it to the company for transfer in their name through post, through speed post, through post, whatever you call it, right? And many times in the process of this postage, right, the share were being lost. Secondly, when I am transferring the share, intentionally or unintentionally, if I do not sign in the right manner the signs which are there in the records of the company, because how do the company recognizes me? The company recognizes me only through my signature. The way the bank recognizes you are a account holder. How do bank recognizes you? Bank recognizes you through your account. All checks and all these are being cleared through your signature, right? So if there is a signature mismatch, then the company will not transfer the share in the name of the buyer, and the shares will remain in the name of the seller. Meantime, if the company decides to distribute the dividend and dividend is being declared and distributed, the dividend will go in the pocket of the seller who has already sold the share long back. The point I am trying to make is there were many difficulties in this system where the physical means shares used to be issued in the physical form, in the share certificate form. There used to be a lot of loss of shares in the postage, in the process. There used to be mismatch, there used to be forgery, there used to be Benami transactions, means in order to use, in India we call it number one money, number two money, in order to use unaccounted money, the buyers used to buy the shares not in their original name but in Benami names, right? So it used to promote the unaccounted money. So there were many hassles in this process of physical transfer of shares, in the process of where the share certificate used to be issued in paper form, right? As I've just said, there can be a leakage in the sense that the signatures are being mismatched, dividend is being transferred in wrong account, the actual buyer who has already made the transaction, dividend does not come in his account because the shares still exist in the name of the person who has already sold the share long back. If there is a signature mismatch, and meantime if the seller has left the place where he used to live, or the broker has no connection with the buyer at the time when this deal takes place, or means at the time when the buyer comes to know that there is a signature mismatch, so how will you find the seller? So these were many difficulties in this physical form of share, means in the physical form of share certificate. In order to overcome this, now all this is being in the electronic form. We call it depositories. So I'll be talking about the depositories now. So at this moment I'm stopping here only by saying that in the physical form, when the share certificates used to be issued in paper form, there were many difficulties in that system. Now the shares are being dealt in the electronic form, right? Shares are being issued, shares are being transferred electronically, and that is being done with the help of depositories. So this I will discuss in my next lecture.